he witnessed black patients and white patients with the same psychological diagnosis, whether it was paranoid schizophrenia or bipolar or whatever, same psych diagnosis. The white patients would get drugs and talk therapy, the black patients would get torture under the guise of therapy. And he's not allowed, even though he's trained at the Sorbonne, he's not allowed to work with white patients. Only the black patients. So there's very little he could do actually to stop the torture because it's carried out by other people. They're not allowing him to administer drugs or talk therapy. No, they're basically held in the common room like it's jail. And it's a mental institution. So what that caused him to do is basically say, wait, this is state sanctioned. The state, even if I'm a healer, the state is not allowing me to heal legally. And that's normal. That had been going on for centuries. Or at least the time that the French had a colony there, which was quite a while, going on centuries. So how does that work here? What does sociostructural violence look like here? So he wrote, Fanon wrote, violence is any relation, process, or condition by which an individual or group violates the physical, social, and or psychological integrity of another person or group. From this perspective, violence inhibits human growth, negates inherent potential, limits productive living, and causes death. And so that's one of the things where the body count comes from. Okay? More than lynching. Sociostructural violence. Violence, again, talking about that. So are you, for example, if you talk about senior sociostructural violence, may you grow old, first of all. But as you grow old, are you more valued the older and wiser you grow? Or is your growth increased or inhibited the older you get? As you become more disabled, are accommodations made easier or harder for you as you grow old? Okay? These are sociostructural conditions. Yeah, you may get a senior center, but do you get more respect or less? Less. Way less. So the proposed definition rests on several assumptions. First, violence is not simply an isolated physical act or discrete random event. It is a relation, process, and condition undermining, exploiting, and curtailing the well-being of the victim. Second, these violations are not simply moral and ethical, but also physical, social, and or psychological. They involve demonstrable assault on or injury of and damage to the victim. Third, violence in any of the three domains, physical, social, or psychological, has significant repercussions in the other two domains. So physical assault affects your social status and your psychological well-being. A social assault affects your physical health and your psychological well-being, and a psychological assault affects your social status and your physical well-being. Fourth, violence occurs not only between individuals, but also between groups and societies. Also within groups and societies. Who calls who a redneck? Who are you calling immigrant, pilgrim? Negar to negger to nigger. The first two are terms of respect. The third one is not. Fifth, intention is less critical than consequence in most forms of violence. So for example, in case law, the intent versus impact or effect. The case law recognizes it doesn't matter what your intent is, because we can't read your mind unless you say something or write something. So you have to look at the impact, whatever your action is. I've got nothing, I didn't mean anything by calling you colored. I got nothing against the coloreds. You people have nice funerals. You also didn't say what you liked. So, what do people want to be called anyway? So, any relation, process, or condition imposed by someone that injures the health and well-being of others is by definition violent. So, you've seen that piece. You have it on the website. All right. Not yet. Do you know what memes are? What are they, besides that?
Online little thing.
No? Well, it's useful to know where the concept came from. Okay? When something goes viral. Right? So, the original concept came from a biologist, Richard Dawson. So, Richard Dawson, biologist and atheist, says, yeah, I believe in evolution, but I don't believe in a supreme being. I'm a scientist. You can't prove to me where there's a supreme being. Right? So here's the idea that he created. The idea is that a meme is the smallest unit of replicating thought. So he wrote this in his book, The Selfish Gene. Okay? And he said a gene's goal is to replicate itself. Life seeks to replicate itself. And a meme is the smallest unit of replicating thought. So if it, as a gene is the smallest unit of replicating physical life, a meme is the smallest unit of replicating thought. So a meme has been written like a virus of the mind. That's why they talk about things going viral. Okay? Smallest unit of replicating thought. And it's transmitted like a virus through any mode of human communication. And it spreads. So it, when it travels from mind to mind, just like a virus, it mutates according to the conditions of the mind. And what's in, and the previous memes that are in that mind. Okay, so you gotta watch for them. And so memes are kind of like everywhere. So here's the idea. Just like as a virus basically adapts, so that if you were infected with a cold virus and you kiss somebody or your partner or whatever, you have infected your partner with your virus, but the virus grows in their body and is separate. It mutates. It is mutated that far. We've seen that with like HIV as well. Okay? So like genes, memes combine to become viral ideas. So the reason I'm basically talking about this in terms of, all right, what I did was a mimetic transfer from the ancient African pre-chiefless society constitution and basically gave you isms and crash. Taking a piece of that meme, translating it, repurposing it. Because we can't live together in a tribal situation for a year for me to give you the entire thing, which is what it would take. Okay? So a meme is a virus of the mind which can infect an open mind and begin replicating. So as the smallest unit of replicating thought, a meme can have an influence beyond its small size. So memes are transmitted through any form of human communication, which include language, images, art, technology, beliefs, spirituality, religion, lots of different things. Okay, so once you understand the concept, you can detect memes in operation and cause a few of your own. So again, when we talk about video going viral, that viral idea came from memetics. Okay? How do you craft a weapon to get these people pissed off at you? Gee, why are they getting mad because we burned their book? Oh, because these folks share the capacity with the Jews. Muslims have the same meme where they believe the Torah and the Quran are people. Okay? And if it's damaged, you need to bury it properly, just like you give a person a proper burial. And you all understand that, right? Oh, no. So that's, you desecrated, just like desecrating a loved one. You'd be pissed too. Oh, they lynched those those contractors. Terrible. Well, yeah, y'all lynched 10,000 black people. And that was like normal behavior. Brought people to kids and people to picnics. They're doing what you did, except you didn't stop doing it. Memes. So here's a word tree that illustrates. So a word tree is basically, I'm just tracing the origin of a meme. Niger, or Niger, depending on your pronunciation, whether it's French or English. Niger, Nigeria. Africa is a Greek word meaning land of the blacks. So Niger, Nigeria, Africa, meaning the same thing, land of the blacks. Those are place names. A negar is a person from that place. Neger in German, once you switch, same meme, different language, neger. Okay? Nigger in English, and hip-hop then reclaims it and says niggas. Tupac says, never ignorant, gaining goals always. Repurposing it. Same meme. Different coding. Dog whistle, shibboleth. Those are memes. Negro, Spanish, black. Negra, American English. Between nigger and negro, negra, or colored. In Latin, suert, dark. Swarthy, English, dark complexion or color. Schwarz, German, black. Schwarzkopf, black head. Schwarzenegger, black and from Africa. Abach, Abyssinian, Russian, means African. Abakidze, Arab, Arapov, Aksakov. Shimon Afrikanovich was an African trader who came up to Russia in 1000 AD. Right? Abak, Abakidze, Arap, Arapov are all Russian surnames. Synonyms for black people: Moor, Turk, Blackamoor, mulatto, quadroon, high yellow, red bone. Okay, these are all mimetic concepts. So race and race mixing. And sex. So there are constructs of race, and therefore ways of speaking, for example, grammar and acting etiquette around race, that are part of the meme of what race is. There are do's and don'ts. Okay? So race plus an ism equals racism. That is basically a meme coming from the U.S. Commission of Civil Rights in 1970. So there are constructs of meme or memes of race within the English language. So biological. You either have, in terms of science, there's either one race, the human race, and all humans are basically part of that. And in the current scientific nomenclature, there ain't no difference. We're the same folks. But politics rears its ugly head, and politics is the science of the distribution of power. Who has power, who doesn't. So when you have political memes that affect race, and the pieces that I just skipped over were examples of memes of race where it's power neutral. One race isn't advantaged over the other. There's the indigenous ones and the African ones. So the indigenous meme is 4 directions. 4 directions, 4 races. People of the East are the yellow race. The people of the South are the black race. The people of the West are the red race. The people of the North are the white race. This is pre-Columbian. Okay? So, North isn't superior to South. East isn't superior to West. They are simply directions. They're all directions in the whole of the medicine wheel. They're all relatives. So it acknowledges the differences without necessarily advantaging any of the directions or the groups. So 4 directions. So race and gender equity. So the meme that we started with was the 3 races, white male supremacy, which is Caucasoid, Mongoloid, Negroid. I talked about that, yes? Okay? I didn't explode the meme, though. So let me do that for you for a quick second. Caucasoid. Oid is of the Caucasus, land base. Right? So the theory was Noah's Ark landed at Mount Ararat. Mount Ararat is in the Caucasus Mountains. The people, after humanity had been wiped out, the people that were left were the Caucasoids. Right? So this is presuming that Noah was white. Okay? This comes out of Germany. Blumenbach. So it's biblically based, because the Gutenberg Bible generated in Germany, right? So he's basically working off of that, right? Caucasoid of the Caucasus, a land base. The next race to devolve, and it's devolved, right? Mongoloid, okay, of Mongolia. Where's Mongolia? Asia, right? Again, a land base. Okay, now mimetically and psychologically. What should you call black people? If you're following the logic. Negroid. No, they're called Negroid, but where are they from if you attach a land base to them? Afroid, right? If you're following the logic pattern, it should be Afroid, of Africa, because they know black people come from Africa in 17th century Germany. They know that. They don't do that. They call them Negroid. Copy that. Okay? Of Negroidia. Wait, where's Negroidia? No, they broke the logic chain, and there's a reason to do that. What happens psychologically when the Italians are no longer in Italy? Wait. The land is the people of the land. Italians come from Italy. They speak Italian. Germans come from Germany. They speak Germany. French come from France. They speak French. What happens when you take Africans and say that they're not in Africa anymore? What can you do with their land? Take it. Oh, what happens when you encounter Indians who aren't in India? What can you do with their land? What happens to the Palestinians when there's no Palestine? Okay. And who's perpetrating that? That's the British. Hello. These have ramifications today. These memes are operational today. So exploding that 3 races construct, Caucasoid, Mongoloid, Negroid, then that becomes the Federal 5 plus. Okay? So Federal 5 is what? You had to check a box voluntarily when you entered the college, right? You had to check a box. Right? You have to check a box on a job app. Federal 5. White, black, non-Hispanic, Hispanic, Asian, Native American. You might be able to claim more than one box, but who is the other? And then other. Is other mixed race? Who determined that? So the Federal 5 came out of this one as a meme. All right? So the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights said that prejudice plus power equals racism. That is, everybody has prejudices, which are basically irrational beliefs based on things without evidence, but not everybody has the power to reinforce their prejudices. So that's where the power is, the power being the capacity to be effective. All right? Politics, science, and religion give you the power to reinforce your prejudices as policy. And part of sociostructural violence is the ability to define the curriculum and what's in the curriculum, who's represented in the curriculum. Okay? So, constructs are memes of race which begin with a creation narrative to explain where differentiation came from. One race, the human race, no superior race. Pre-Western civilization race constructs, the medicine wheel, sacred hoop, the crossroads. And then we have attitudes of racial self-hatred. So, next week, I'm going to go into African culture. This was a setup to begin to interpret that information. Sorry it's long and intense, but I knew of no other way to begin to do this. So this will be up in a couple hours, and so will the vids. I can take your assignments now, or you can send them in by close of business. Okay? Talk to you later.
Nazitoziva umari asika ndipo